Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be talking about net worth in different age categories and why it's probably the most important thing for you to track in helping you achieve financial independence. One of the biggest hurdles to building wealth is thinking it's not possible. This one tool will help you not only see exactly where you're at financially, but it will highlight the different hurdles that you have in your path currently. So this one number, the net worth, is very specific for each individual person, and it will allow you to see your situation more clearly. Hello, my name is Artem Chuprin. I love talking about all things financial and helping you establish your financial journey. We all know that we should prioritize investing. We all know that we should spend less on things that don't matter. We all are aware of bad financial decisions we might make, but how can we help change our mindset? How can we help change our motivation for choosing the right things? We know what to do, but doing it is hard. The path to wealth is simple, but it's not easy. So let's jump into it. So what is net worth? Net worth is not the amount of money that you make in a year, not the amount of money that you have sitting in your bank account. Net worth is not your value as a human being. This is how you calculate net worth. So I'll do it right here with you as an example. I'm going to pull up on the screen exactly how you can calculate your net worth. First, you get all the things together that you have called assets. Assets are things that have value. Here we're going to have a person who has a house that's worth $300,000. And it's a married couple. They have two cars. One car is worth $40,000. The next car is worth $10,000. They also have $2,000 in their savings account. And between the two of them, they have $35,000 in their retirement accounts. So those are the assets that they own. The second step is calculating all the debt or liabilities that you have. These are your loans and debts that you need to pay off. So in this case, the house loan or the mortgage is $250,000. The car payment that we have on the first car is $38,000. The second car loan is $14,000. And this couple just got married recently. They're both out of school. So between the two of them, they have $63,000 in student loan debt. And on top of that, they also use some credit cards and build up a credit amount of about $14,000 in credit card debt. So all those numbers put together, that is their liabilities. And now all you do is you calculate the total assets, total liabilities, and you find the difference. And in their case, this couple, their net worth is $8,000. The average net worth of all Americans is $748,800. Now that is the average, meaning it is definitely skewed towards one side because of the wealthy. For example, if you're hanging out in a bar and Bill Gates walks into the bar, all of a sudden, the average person in that bar becomes a billionaire. Nobody got richer, nobody got any money, but because of Bill Gates having so much wealth, the average shifts so much just because of one person. The better number to look at would probably be the mean or the middle person. So if you have 100 people, for example, and you pick the person number 50, that's going to represent the average individual a little bit better. The median net worth of all Americans is $121,700. That represents the average person a little bit better. The first group that we have is 18 to 24-year-olds. The average individual in this group has a net worth of $28,707. And the middle person in this group has a net worth of $8,216. What are the common characteristics in this group? So you're just out of high school. Most people maybe are in college or some kind of a tech school. So you have some student loans. You don't have a house at this point, most likely. And the average person in this group is just starting their financial journey. What are common obstacles that early 20-year-olds have for having their net worth grow fast? The biggest one is student loan debt. So let's say you're 18 years old, you just got out of high school, and you're thinking of college. Well, you're heading to college. There are different ways you can maximize your ability to grow your money down the road by not taking as much debt as other people your age group. Maybe you don't go to a school that's out of state. Maybe you stay in your state. That will limit your tuition costs. If possible, and you live next to a big city, maybe you go to a local school for the first few years, or maybe a tech school. And that way you don't amass as much loans that you'll have to pay off later on in life. So there are different choices that you can make that can limit the cost of education. Let's say you're starting a job right out of high school. And there are ways you can start moving forward a little bit faster. What are different certifications you can get, on-the-job training, different classes you can take? Maybe your work will even cover for some of that education. This way you can start increasing your income early on in your career. Another great thing that you can do in your early 20s is learn about investing, learn how money works, read some books, maybe watch a bunch of YouTube videos about how you can supercharge your financial journey early on. What are some of the biggest problems or pitfalls that you can fall into? A lot of people don't know much about money at this point yet. So maybe you're gonna buy a car that's a little bit too expensive for your income. So learn to minimize your costs of living, minimize cost to education. At this point in life, it's probably the most important time that you can learn about paying yourself first. So above all else, learn to maybe say no to a few things and pay yourself no matter what. This is your future fund. This is the fund for the future you. Chances are you're gonna live to be quite a bit older than in your 20s. So if you can start putting money aside right now, that money will start to work for you, and in the long term will really help supercharge your wealth growth. The second category is 25 to 29-year-olds. This is when life gets a little bit more exciting. So we see here the median net worth actually drops a little bit. Now there are different reasons for this. One of the reasons for this is a lot of people who are pursuing higher education, especially long-term college, doctors, lawyers. If you have school that is going to be taking you into the later or mid-20s, your student loan debt is going to be quite significantly high at this point. A lot of people will start getting married at this point, so that costs money. You have to start establishing your life. So all of these changes will be hurdles to overcome. What are really wise things you can do at this point in your life? At this point, you're probably getting a more stable job. So find out, what is a 401k? Find out, does your company offer you a match for the 401k? And this way, you can start to contribute up to that amount and you get free money. Find out other perks that you can have through work. Maybe there's education courses you can take that will give you $1 or more an hour or $2 an hour. Maybe if you're a welder, get a few certifications, you start making more money. At this point in life, especially if you're married or have little kids, this is when we really start to compare ourselves with the Joneses. If you fall into the trap of materialism or into the trap of keeping up with the Joneses, that will really drive you back. You'll fall into a lifestyle where as you get increased money through your job or increased income, you're just gonna max it out to that amount. So one of the biggest things is learn to find satisfaction in the more simple things. Instead of trying to keep up with people that seem like they have everything together, possibly minimize your time on social media. It can be a little bit toxic for some people. So if you find that you're dissatisfied with your life or you're starting to compare yourself to people around you, try and minimize your time on social media, or maybe try and just be more mindful of the things that you do have and the things that you're thankful for. The next category is 30 to 34-year-olds. This is when life gets pretty exciting. This is when your career's hitting its stride. You have finally figured out what it is you want to do with your life. You have maybe formed a few years at your job. You're having increased benefits, increased pay. So this is when life starts to really accelerate for a lot of people. Now, in this point, this is when a lot of people will start to act a little bit different. And one of the biggest differences is in this age group is prioritizing. The person who's going to be heavy into saving and investing, this is where they're going to start to take off and leave others behind. There's a few things that you can really try and focus on. Pay off that high interest debt. Try and minimize that. Try and limit things that will cost you extra money down the road. Maybe you want that fancy car now. At this point, this is where you should focus more on learning what is an asset, what is something that's going to grow money for you, what is something that's going to help you in 5 or 10 years. As we enter this time frame, a lot of people start to feel invincible. You start to feel kind of the best that you've felt in your life. And at this point, it's important to remember, have a long-term view on life. So there are things that you can do in this age group that will really supercharge your wealth journey. Saving is probably the biggest thing you can do. If you're in this category, one of the best ways that you can realize what will help you grow is track your net worth. This will allow you to really see what are the things in your life that are maybe penalizing you. What are the different obstacles? And this is where everybody's going to be different. If you have a lot of student loan debt in this category, or if you have a high consumption lifestyle, tracking your net worth will allow you to see that. If maybe there's a hobby that's taking a little bit too much of your time or money, that will also be evident by tracking your net worth. So start tracking your net worth at this point. This is where it really becomes important for you trying to not keep up with the Joneses. I know everybody wants to look successful. Instagram, Facebook, everything like that is going to try and push you into this rat race. You don't have to fall into the trap of trying to look like everybody else. If you can simplify your lifestyle by just a tiny little bit, that will give you several thousands of dollars every year that you can put away and make it grow for you. You're probably getting the idea of what I'm going to be preaching for the rest of this video. So minimizing your expenses, minimizing things that will really be liabilities, and trying to really put as much money as you can into assets, things that will grow you money. So learn about finances, learn about investing. The next category is 35 to 39-year-olds. So by this point, people are firmly entrenched in their career. They have chosen to pursue what it is they're going to do probably for the rest of their life. You're getting close to the peak earning potential in your career. At this point, you want to focus on what are the things that can drag you down financially. This is when your kids are getting a little bit older, you're interacting with the other parents in this age group, and everybody's really starting to compare each other to figure out who's more successful, who's less successful, who's got it made. And at this point, it's very easy to fall into the trap of just trying to keep up with people around you. The more you can put away into savings and investments, the more your money will grow. If you're between 35 and 39, the other very important thing to start to invest into is your health. You may still feel young, you can feel like life is still far ahead of you, but this is when it's really important to start investing into your fitness, into watching what you eat, and really putting a solid foundation for the next decade or two in your life. These years you will never get back. Here's where you're gonna have little kids at home. So you have to figure out how to balance kids and work, how to balance trying to grow your career, and how to spend more time as a family, how to try and figure out maybe new sources of income while balancing all these things. If you feel like you're behind financially at this point in life, there's encouraging news. You don't have to think that that's it, I'm behind everybody else. Start to see where can you turn things around. This is where you can really take a look at your financial goals and reevaluate. Are you on the right track? Track your net worth. See what are the things that are holding you back and what things have really made you jump forward. Maybe at this point you realize, if I didn't buy a house, but if I would have, that really would have helped me along. Then take a look more seriously into buying a house. And if you have a house in this point and your equity in the house is growing, try and find out what are some creative ways that you can start using that value, that money in your house. At this point in your life is when you don't want to be taking those crazy bets, 1 in a million shots on Wall Street bets, and gamble your entire future. Right now in the market, not just the stock market, but the cryptocurrency market and other markets in general, there's a lot of bubbles going on. I have a video, I'll just put it up there in the corner, about the risk that people can take without realizing their hard-earned money that they've worked for the last 10 years to put aside. You can blow it in a year, half a year, or even possibly a couple days. So learn how to minimize your risk, but also learn how you can see opportunities that can come up. What are the different ways that you can realize, hey, I can make money in this opportunity right here. Maybe Bob or Susie cannot see that opportunity, but I'm able to spot it because I have taught myself how to see opportunities. You get the theme. Education is very important. So keep learning and keep growing your eyes to be able to see things that others may miss. Next, we have 40 to 44-year-olds. This tends to be close to the peak of your earning power. If you lose a job at this point, your income or prospects are not going to be as promising as if you were in your 30s. So this is where you really have to start to be a little bit more strict with your money. You have to truly realize your money that you do have accumulated by now, it has cost you a lot of time and a lot of effort. So if you feel that need to go out there and buy a Corvette or take that trip of a lifetime, try and think, what is it going to cost you in the next 10 years? Some of the biggest terms that you might want to learn at this point is opportunity cost. This is when it's very important to know your financial situation. A lot of people in this category have no idea what their net worth is at. They have no idea what is driving them back and what are the things that are helping them forward. If you haven't bought a house by your early 40s, this is when you really want to try and take a look at how can you get into real estate. As we said in the beginning, the median net worth of the average American is $121,700. But the median net worth of the average American who has a home is $255,000. And the median net worth of an individual who lives in rent is only $6,300. So at this point, really try and invest into real estate. Find out how can you get into a home that will help you grow your net worth. A home is a store of value. This is when it's important to learn how can I use the value that is grown in my home to help me move forward in life. By this point, if you've been a high saver, if you have been in the category of people that have been paying themselves first, you're going to be way ahead of the average individual. Your net worth is not going to be the median number. It's probably going to be higher. So if that's you in this situation, thumbs up to you guys. Way to be. The next category is 45 to 49-year-olds. So by this point, you probably hit your peak earning potential. If you lose a job in your late 40s, it's going to be hard to replace that job with the same income. This is when the illusion of job security can really bite you in the butt. If you've been relying on solid employment and all of a sudden, for some reason, your job closes down, it's going to be hard for you to replace that income somewhere where you live. You might have to sell your home, you might have to relocate, you might have to have a huge life change just because your place of employment shut down or laid you off. In your later 40s, the value of your home has really jumped up if you have a house. By this point, you have equity in your home. By this point, in your late 40s, sit down and write out your financial situation. How much equity do you have in your home? How much growth have you produced from your retirement accounts, your 401k, maybe a Roth IRA? What have your investments done for you in the last 10, 15 years? This is when life gets more and more exciting for those of you who have been disciplined and you are sitting on a very substantial amount of net worth. The next category is when you hit the big 50, so 50 to 54-year-olds. Congratulations, you have turned 50. This is when it's very exciting. If you have been disciplined up to this point in your life and you have been saving heavily for the future, you have been putting aside money into your 401k, you have been putting aside money into a normal brokerage account possibly, and your home value has grown, you're going to be in a position where you're going to have a lot more freedom. This is when you can possibly start to minimize the amount that you work and transition to a life of freedom. There is a whole movement out there called FIRE, Financially Independent Retire Early. You can set your life up in your early 30s, and by the time you're 50, if you're disciplined, if you're a high saver, 20 to 30%, you're going to be able to retire. So you could be 50, and you could be retiring. You could have all this time and energy and health to pursue the things that you love. Not only that, you might have this passion to go help people. So maybe you'll start a nonprofit. Maybe you'll pursue other ways of helping other people. This is the point in life when some people may hit a midlife crisis while other people are still stuck working. Possibly you can retire altogether at this point. Now, if you're farther behind at the age of 50, don't feel like, oh man, life is over and that's it. You still have a large amount of time to grow your money by the time you retire. So focus on tightening expenses that you could be hemorrhaging, that you could be bleeding out without realizing. So sit down with your partner, sit down with your spouse, and write down your exact situation. This is very, very important to do maybe once a month, or at least maybe a couple times a year. Maybe the two of you can just sit down and figure out what are all our assets, what are the money that we have, and what's all our liabilities, and figuring out where are we losing money. to try and just be really honest with yourself and with each other on how you can maybe refocus, maybe readjust your goal to motivate each other, to encourage each other to pursue that goal, to grow yourself in the future. So don't get discouraged if your average or your mean is not here. You still have plenty of time. So financial journey doesn't start when you're 20. It doesn't start when you're 30. It starts the moment you decide to take finances into your own hands. So teach yourself about money. If there's one book that I would strongly recommend that you guys read, it's The Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins. He has a free blog that you can go on. I'll put it in the description below. So this blog goes over how to invest. And it's very, very simple to do. All you need is consistency and discipline to actually do it. You don't have to be a brainiac. You don't have to know a whole lot, but you can really learn to invest. The next stage in life is 55 to 59. Here we have a net worth on average of 1.1 million. To be more specific, 1,165,477. The median net worth at this point is 193,549. Your retirement is just around the corner. You still have your health, you still have a lot of energy, you still have a lot of time on your hands, but there's going to be a lot of obstacles that you're going to have to deal with. Perhaps you have elderly parents that you're taking care of, or you have kids that are going to college. So not only do you have the strain of taking care of your parents, but you're also going to have the strain of providing education for your kids. So you're going to be in a difficult situation, but learn to prioritize your retirement. Don't think that I'll have some time to invest yet into the future. My retirements can still be built up. If you don't have a significant amount in your retirement account, this is when you really start to aggressively put money into your retirement. What are the big things that you should try not to do? If you build a large amount of equity in your house, and now you're like, man, I can go buy myself a nice fancy big house. You could, but will that help you financially? There's a misconception that owning a home is always an asset. The home that you live in is almost always a liability. The home that you live in is never an asset unless it's actually making you money. The fact that it grows in value is pointless unless that value you're using to grow more money. Learn to use your equity in your home to invest into assets that will grow. Learn to use the equity into things that may pay you money. Maybe it's going to be getting a second home that you can rent out. But find out a way that you can start to have other ways of income in case something happens. And if you lose your job in your late 50s, it's going to be very hard to find a second one that's going to match that income level that you're used to. So learn to start to decrease your standard of living to get yourself prepared for retirement years. The average person, when they retire, their income does not go up. It tends to drop down, and sometimes significantly. So try and live on less than what you make and get used to the idea that you're not going to have quite as much money as you thought maybe in retirement, but find joy in simple things. Learn to really network with people. Grow your community around you. Find out ways that you can get involved in projects of volunteering, helping others, providing value for other people. That's going to really start to pay dividends in your health, in your joy, in your peace, and this will help you grow as a person. The next stage is 60 to 64-year-old. Here on the screen, you can see the average net worth of people in this age group. It's 1,187,730. So you're in your early 60s. Retirement is just around the corner, or possibly you're already retired. If you haven't learned much about finances throughout your life up to this point, it's very important for you to find somebody that can help you walk through all the things that you need to prepare for as you get closer to retirement. If you get a financial advisor, one thing to recommend is get one that gets paid by hour, called a fiduciary. So this person will not make any extra money off the things that you buy. In other words, if you get a financial advisor that makes a small commission from things that you buy through them, they're not going to have your best interests at heart, but they're going to be biased in trying to make money off of you through things that they offer you. So their offering to you may not be the best thing for you necessarily, but it's just something that they could get an extra paycheck for. So be careful looking for a financial advisor at this point. Make sure that you have a will at this point. If you haven't got a will yet for your estate or for people around you, it's best if you can write that out This way they can have a written out instructions to follow. Whoever is starting their financial journey, maybe you're in your 20s, maybe you're in your 30s, maybe you're in your early 40s. If you can jumpstart your investment now, if you can learn to save 15, 20, 25% of your income, by the time that you get to be 65, not only will you be set financially, not only will you have that freedom to enjoy life and not stress over it, chances are you might be able to enjoy retirement for 10 years leading up to that point. So while people around you in their 30s have their nice car, their nice house, and their flashy lifestyle, but when they're 60, they're still working at their job. So next time you see that fancy car and you really want to buy it or want to have that lifestyle creep, think of yourself at the age of 55. You could be retired at 55 while having your health, while being able to travel the world with your spouse. And instead, the people that are going to be enjoying life right now around you in their 30s or in their 20s or in their 40s, they're going to be stuck in their situation. Invest in your freedom today. So guys, I hope this video was helpful. It's very important for you to try and track your net worth. It will allow you to get a window into what really helps it grow. This is not just so you can look at some numbers and pat yourself on the back for this ethereal, fake, some kind of untangential number out there. But this is a real number that once you achieve it, you can start to walk away from the workplace and focus on the things that you really want to do. High income does not always translate into high net worth. If you have a very high income, but you only keep a small percentage of it, you're not going to be able to amass a great net worth. The biggest way that you can grow your money is by learning to invest your money and saving a high percentage. The more you can put aside and save, the faster that money will grow for you. So guys, as usual, I want to put up my Roth IRA here. Here's my account. I actually hit $101,000 in my Roth IRA. Very, very exciting. I think the market will probably take a little bit of a downturn here, but that's not a big deal. We'll just sit it out and keep investing regularly. So thank you for watching this video. If you stuck it out to the end, thumbs up to you guys. Maybe you can hit that like button if you found something valuable. Pass it on to a friend if you want. And as always, I appreciate you guys spending your time with me. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting my channel. I appreciate you guys. Love you. Take care. Artie out.